I remember the exact second everything changed. It was 9:47 p.m., a time burned into my memory like the flash of a camera. She had just posted a photo, one simple image that detonated the last fragile thread of respect she owed our marriage. I stared at my phone for almost an hour, watching the comments stack up in real time, like people cheering at a funeral they didn't know they were attending. There she sat in a low-lit restaurant, dressed like she wanted the world to worship her, leaning into Derek as if she belonged to him. His arm rested behind her chair like he'd claimed a prize, and she held her champagne flute with that smug little smile she always used when she had something to hide. The caption was the final nail. Finally found my actual soulmate this week, a heart, a champagne bottle, and a digital slap across my face. I didn't rage, I didn't comment. I didn't even blink long enough to let the shock settle. Instead, I silently took screenshots, 3 of them, and tucked copies into cloud storage. Then I forwarded everything to exactly the person she least expected. Because while she was chasing attention online, she forgot one truth about me I never warned twice. When I say I'm done, I'm done. My warning to her was given quietly days earlier. No shouting, no theatrics, just a calm Sunday morning, the smell of burnt toast lingering in the kitchen, her suitcase half open. For another work trip. I poured her coffee and told her in the same tone one uses while mentioning the weather, if you post another photo. With him there's no conversation after that. It's over. She didn't even lift her eyes, too busy typing some performative motivational caption for her LinkedIn followers. Relax, she muttered. It's just Derek, but harmless men don't text your wife after midnight. Harmless men don't leave designer cufflinks beside your bathroom sink. I found them 3 weeks earlier and said nothing. I don't interrupt stories, I wait for the ending. The truth wasn't simply that she was cheating. It was the disrespect, the public humiliation, the way she smirked at the world while tossing away everything we built. She'd been rehearsing this betrayal for months, easing into it with business trips, late dinners, and comments about how I needed to be more supportive. But uploading that picture for everyone to see was something different. It wasn't private betrayal, it was performance art. By midnight, the comments slowed, and I finally hit send on an email I had drafted weeks before, one subject line. A handful of attachments, sent to the managing partner at my law firm. Because Derek wasn't just some coworker she flirted with. He was the defendant in a major case I was handling. A man already dangling by a thread professionally. My silence had protected them both until she made their relationship public. Her arrogance gave me the opening I needed. 4 days later, she arrived home from her business trip, rolling in her suitcase like she was returning from a triumphant tour. She had no idea her world was already unraveling. She talked nonstop about keynote speakers, networking dinners, her hotel breakfast, completely unaware of the storm closing in around her career and her lovers. I waited until she went upstairs. Then I changed the locks. When she came back down and realized her key didn't work, she laughed, thinking it was some petty gesture. But the laugh died the moment she entered the guest room and saw the envelope waiting for her. Inside was the prenup amendment, one she signed a year ago without reading, trusting that anything labeled household security review was harmless paperwork. She forgot that I'm meticulous, patient, and not nearly as blind as she assumed. The amendment protected me from reputational or financial harm caused by her public entanglements, a phrase that now seemed almost prophetic. She flipped through the pages, her face draining of color as she saw her own signature. "This isn't legal!" she snapped. "You tricked me? I didn't look up from my book." "I didn't trick you." "I prepared for you?" The next morning, the fallout started. Her boss called furious, panicked, cold. Derek's lawyers had raised a conflict of interest alert, and her photo had become evidence in a compliance review. Her firm benched her indefinitely, terrified of reputational contamination. By that afternoon, a major client had demanded she be removed from their account permanently. And that evening, a legal analysis blog featured her photo under an article about corporate ethics failures. She had become a case study overnight. Her phone lit up, nonstop messages, warnings, subtle accusations. Friends distanced themselves. Her closest confidant cut ties, reminding her she'd ignored every red flag, every warning, every opportunity to stop. Her reputation was collapsing exactly the way she had built it publicly. The next morning was the final blow. She tried to enter her office building with her usual confidence, heels echoing through the lobby, but her badge flashed red. Security escorted her to a bench while HR walked over with a leather-bound folder. Inside was her termination, ethics violations, reputational harm, conflict of interest. Signed by the one person whose signature mattered most, mine, in my capacity as general counsel.